Stage 2 LOX load closed out.
And we've got confirmation. Stage 2 LOX loading is complete. And that completes loading of the over 1.1 million pounds of propellants on the Falcon 9. All systems remain go for launch. Right now, we are beginning to drain the propellant out of the lines that go up the strongback to the second stage. And that's creating the large white cloud you see around the strongback. Pressure from that ultra-cold LOX line is vented overboard, and it meets up with the warm, moist Florida air. Now, our next event will be startup called out at T-minus 1 minute. At that point, the first and second stage computers on Falcon 9 are executing stored programs to prepare the rocket for flight, leading to ignition of the Merlin engines at T-minus 2 seconds and liftoff at T0.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
Falcon computers are running the final sequence for launch. We're also pressurizing first and second stage tanks for liftoff pressure.
The MD is go for launch.
We've heard the call out. The Space Force mission director is go for launch. T-minus 33 seconds and counting. All systems go for launch.
30 seconds.
Let's listen into terminal count and watch as Falcon 9 transports the U.S. Space Force's GPS III Space Vehicle number 5 satellite into orbit.
T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition and liftoff. Go Falcon, go GPS.
Vehicle is pitching downrange.
Stage 1 chamber pressures are nominal.
T plus 36 seconds. SpaceX launch engineers report nominal conditions on Falcon 9. We begin the trip to space carrying the GPS III satellite. Merlin engine's about to throttle down. We're in the throttle bucket.
Telemetry.
Decreasing acceleration of preparation for maximum dynamic pressure. Great views looking aft towards Cape Canaveral.
Vehicle is supersonic.
We're throttled back up to full power. We're out of the throttle bucket, and we're supersonic. Now, from here on, even though velocity is rapidly increasing, the atmospheric density is decreasing. And that's resulting on less loads on the Falcon 9. And you've heard the call out. We're through max Q, so the loads are now decreasing on the launch vehicle.
MVAC engine chill has started.
That call out says the bleed valve on second stage engine is open, and that's beginning a final chill of the MVAC engine prior to second stage ignition. All's looking good with the stage 1 trajectory. And we've got 3 events coming up in quick succession. We're going to have main engine cutoff, MECO as we call it. The first and second stages will then separate. And then we will have ignition of the second stage engine to propel Falcon 9 into the first parking orbit. We're beginning to throttle down the first stage engines to hold 4G constant acceleration, coming up on main engine cutoff.
MECO.
Stage separation confirmed.
And we've got, as you can hear the cheering in the background, successful stage separation. Second stage is now under power of the single Merlin vacuum engine. You may have noticed some curved pieces of metal come off the end of the nozzle right after ignition. That's normal. These are ground
Both
handling
vehicles are
tubes.
following nominal trajectories.
They're not needed in flight. We hear the call out, we're following nominal trajectory. With the left side of your screen, you can see the first stage grid fins. The titanium grid fins have deployed. Coming up next, fairing separation.
Acquisition of signal, monkey.
Fairing separation confirmed.
A nice view from the second stage camera showing successful fairing deploy as Falcon 9 is passing through 110 kilometers altitude. Now we will be attempting to retrieve these new fairing halves with the help of our contracted recovery vessel, HOS Briarwood. Now currently Falcon 9 second stage heading northeast along the U.S. coast. We are sending telemetry down through the SpaceX Bermuda ground
Both
station.
vehicles continue to follow nominal
Now, as
trajectories.
we pass 4 minutes and 20 seconds into flight, all systems are go
Acquisition of signal, Bermuda.
as Falcon 9 carries GPS into space.
It's T plus 4 minutes and 45 seconds here into today's mission, and we're currently in the first of 2 planned MVAC burns for satellite deployment. You can see from the live views on your right, the second stage MVAC engine is burning, and there on your left is a live view of the Falcon 9 first stage as it's preparing to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere. At T plus 6 minutes and 18 seconds, you should see on your screen the first stage's entry burn. This is in just about a minute. This burn will last about 30 seconds.
Acquisition of signal, New Hampshire.
And for the entry burn, we relight the center E9 engine on the first stage, and then partway through, we relight the
Both vehicles
E1
continue to follow nominal trajectories.
and E5 engines. So we will have a total of 3 M1D engines helping to slow the vehicle down as it passes back into the Earth's atmosphere. You can see a great live look at that Falcon 9 first stage there as it's coasting back down. Now, the Falcon 9 supporting today's mission will perform this entry burn for the second time, and both fairing halves will re-enter for the first time. This booster previously supported the November 2020 GPS III mission, and we're pretty excited to watch today's landing because it marks the first mission we're supporting for the U.S. Space Force with a flight-proven booster. Now, entry burn will start in just a few seconds here. Listen for the call out.
Stage 1 flight termination system is safe.
Stage 1, entry burn has started.
You heard the call out, and you can see on your screen, stage 1 entry burn has started. This burn lasts about 30 seconds.
Stage 1, entry burn, shutdown.
We did have a successful stage 1 entry burn there. And now, while Falcon 9
Both vehicles continue to follow nominal trajectories.
While Falcon 9 makes its way back to Earth, you may notice that there are different soot markings on the outer covering of the rocket. You can maybe just see them on your screen on the left there. Now, if you've ever wondered how these markings are formed, the soot is generated when the carbon-based rocket-grade kerosene, or RP1, burns. And since our reentry occurs engines first, the booster flies through its own plume, which deposits the soot on the rocket there. Now, coming up next will be our landing burn, which will be at T plus 8 minutes and 7 seconds. This will also last about 30 seconds, and it will hopefully land our first stage on our drone ship, Just Read the Instructions.
Stage 1 is transonic.
Off the Atlantic coast. You heard the call out that stage 1 is now transonic.
Stage 2 has entered terminal guidance.
Now, just 1 second after the start of the landing burn, we will actually have second engine cutoff
Stage 2 flight termination system is safe.
on the second stage on the right. So both coming up in just a few seconds here.
Stage 1 landing burn has started.
You can see that stage 1 entry burn,
Seco 1.
landing burn, and Seco 1. There's the first stage coming in.
Landing legs are deployed.
Nominal parking orbit.
Stage 1 landing confirmed.
What a beautiful,
GPS signals, space execute measure.
what a beautiful view of that first stage landing. And we did get a confirmation from our second stage of a nominal orbit. You can hear the cheering in the background. Everyone's really excited. We did, again, have a confirmation of a nominal orbital insertion. And of course, we saw that beautiful landing of our Falcon 9 first stage on our drone ship, just to read the instructions. And there you have it. You've just witnessed Falcon 9's 19th landing for this year and SpaceX's 88th overall successful recovery of a first stage. And now at this time, our mission isn't over just yet. The second stage is now embarking on its first coast phase. Coasting in this orbit will last about 53 minutes, and then we'll relight that MVAC engine for a second time shortly after at T+1 hour and 2 minutes. We'll see you back here
Acquisition
at
signal, Newfoundland.
1 hour and 3 minutes. Welcome back to our launch coverage for the GPS III Space Vehicle 5 mission for the U.S. Space Force. If you're just joining us, we had an on-time launch at 12:09 p.m. Eastern, followed by a successful ascent, stage separation, first stage landing, and 2 second stage engine burns. We have just one more major milestone coming up to complete today's mission, which of course is the deployment of the GPS III satellite from Falcon 9's second stage, which will happen here in just under a minute at T+1 hour, 29 minutes, and 20 seconds. Currently, we are in view of the customer ground stations at Hawaii and California, which are necessary to reach prior to deployment. Now, in the 20 or so minutes since we've been coasting, we have increased quite a bit in altitude from our last burn, from about 420 kilometers now all the way up to over 4,000 kilometers. You can see those beautiful live views from our second stage. And let's listen in to hear that call out and watch for GPS III separation from our second stage here in just a few seconds.
Payload separation confirmed.
You can see in that beautiful video and heard the confirmation that we did have a successful payload deployment there. And for those watching, you are witnessing a successful deployment of the GPS III Space Vehicle 5. And with that successful deployment, that now brings our webcast to a close.
Great views from the camera on the second stage of Falcon 9 as we watch GPS III, number 5, heading away from the vehicle, on its way to do its mission. I'd like to thank you. We'd like to thank the U.S. Space Force for entrusting us with today's GPS III Space Vehicle 5 mission. SpaceX is one of 2 certified providers for national security space launch missions, and we're proud to be able to offer reliable, cost-effective launch services to the U.S. Space Force. We look forward to supporting the next GPS mission that's targeted for liftoff next year. Also, we send thanks this afternoon to the Space Force's Space Launch Delta 45 for range support. SpaceX will be observing Juneteenth this weekend, a historic holiday that commemorates the emancipation of those who had been enslaved in the United States. And we would also like to wish all the dads out there a happy Father's Day. Thanks for tuning in and have a great weekend.